Hello and welcome to another RRC video. This week I'm going to be working on my Beta, or Beta if you prefer, Rev-3 270. It has a few issues, but I'll get into those in a moment after I wash years of grime off. So I just said years of grime. Well, that's because I bought this bike with the full intention of taking up a bit of trial riding. But sadly that never happened, and the bike has lay in the corner ever since. So with the bike clean, let's go through all of the things that need fixed. First off is the bodywork, as it's in a pretty sorry state with its worn graphics and broken mudguards. Next is the rear end of the bike. The inner tube has a puncture, so that will need replaced, as will the chain and sprockets, as they are a bit worn. Then I'll need to replace the wheel bearings, as these ones are shot. And last job at the back will be to strip and repack the silencer. At the front we have play in the wheel bearings again, and a missing pinch bolt, so that's either fallen out or worse, sheared off. I will also need to fit new control levers and grips. Then we have the main event, pulling and stripping the engine, as it has an internal coolant leak that fills the transmission with coolant, so that's not good. And that's all I've found so far. So let's crack on and get the bike stripped. As expected, the air filter is filthy. But at least the mice didn't decide to nest in the air box or eat the air filter. Well, this lump of plastic has definitely seen the last of its mudguarding days. Now it's off to be recycled and hopefully turned into a nice shiny new product. And obviously the same applies to the front mudguard. I'm removing the headlight and surround and replacing them with a nice number board. As you can clearly see, the air box is in a pretty sorry state as well, so that will require sorting out as well before being refitted. So I just assumed, like the front tyre, the rear would be tubed as well. But as I was removing the wheel, I spotted this. So, no need for a replacement inner tube, just a patch. Mechanically speaking, the rear shock doesn't need to be removed, but from an aesthetic point of view, it definitely needs a bit of attention. It would also be silly to strip the bike this far and not remove the swing arm to give it a proper clean. Well, that's as far as I need to strip the bike at the moment, so let's make a start on getting the parts back up to scratch. First up, getting the wheels airtight and spinning freely again on new bearings. So to fix the puncture, first I mark the area. I also like to mark well beyond the repair area too, so that I always have a reference when applying the patch. The area is then scuffed up and cleaned to ensure proper adhesion. The rubber cement is then applied and left to tack up for a few minutes before applying the appropriate sized patch. With the patch now firmly in place, it's time to refit the tyre and see if it's now airtight. The paste I'm applying here is a tyre soap and bead sealing combo. Well, now it's time to see if the repair has worked. That'll be a yes then. Now it's time to fit some nice new wheel bearings. Well, that's the rear wheel all sorted and ready for action. Now, let's do the front. But instead of making you watch the exact same process again, I'll just skip ahead to the finished product. Before I skip ahead, I've just noticed another issue that I can fix. I'll have to put the brake disc back on to give you some reference, but can you spot what's wrong yet? I'll give you a little clue. And just like that, the front wheel is fixed and running the correct way. As I said earlier, there is nothing mechanically wrong with the shock. I'm just tidying it up as the worn anodizing really bugs me. With the spring off, it's time to give the shock a wash, and then we can get it looking good again. So in order to make the worn areas look anodized again, I'm going to paint the areas with a red candy, then blend the repairs out, making them invisible, and finish off with a layer of clear coat to protect it all. So while I've been working on the wheels and shock, my handy little helper has been busy cleaning up the frame and swing arm. And I don't know about you, but I think he's done a great job. So now it's time to start putting some parts back on the frame. You may remember from earlier I said that one of the pinch bolts was either sheared or missing. Well, I'm glad to say that it was only missing, so that saved a lot of drilling and tapping. It's not perfect, but it's 100 times better than it was. And let's not forget what I said before. This isn't a restoration, it's just a quick tidy up to get the bike rideable again. And now to apply the finishing touch, a couple of my reproduction decals. Well, with the wheels repaired and back on, it's now time to drop the engine and see what we're dealing with. So, the first step is to drain the fluids. Judging by the amount of sludge in the oil on the sump plug and in the coolant, this engine is being opened up just in the nick of time. So I hope you will join me next time to tackle the engine, as I think this episode is long enough already. And as always, a massive thank you goes out to all of my patrons who make these videos possible. If you haven't already, and you have a spare minute, have a look, as patrons get lots of bonus content and behind the scenes updates, as well as being involved in upcoming projects. So have a look, you might like it. So anyway, I'll see you all again soon with a new episode.